and you have 15 minutes.
Sure. Hey, Charlotte, my name's James Massell. I'm from Movie Death Blows. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with me today.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I got to ask, I'm a big fan of movies that take place in London and, stuff that have a lot to do with like London action, for like mostly Guy Ritchie stuff, Lock, Stock, Snatch, even Layer Cake from Matthew Vaughn. You're a producer on this movie as long as a co-writer and the star. What other movies inspired you to make Duchess, if any?
Oh yes. Number one, Scarface. It's one of my favorite movies. And I said, oh my God, Neil, wouldn't it be amazing to make a female Scarface movie? A lot of action movies you see, action gangster movies are very vanilla. You see, it's like, nah. With Scarface, I mean, it holds up today, but even for its, it's a timeless movie. But at the time, it was so outrageous and so out there and so violent and so everything. And that's kind of the motto we wanted for this film. We wanted to have no restraints. We want it to be as fun and as outrageous and as crazy as possible. So I would say number one, I said to Neil, let's try and make a female Scarface movie. Like, yeah, I know. It's big expectations, but then again, when doing our research and stuff, Lock, Stock was a massive inspiration. Lock, Stock, Layer Cake, and of course we got the great Cole Meany in the film, who was in Layer Cake as well. So, but yes, number one, I'd say Scarface.
I'm excited about the Layer Cake answer just because I was talking about that this morning because nobody knew that's where Daniel Craig got his start. Basically got the Bond role from Layer Cake at that point.
Yeah, his audition, they said, right, when he comes around with the gun, that was literally his audition for Bond.
Yep.
Layer Cake, Lock, Stock, Long Good Friday, it definitely had that. But but I wouldn't call it a British gangster movie because I think it's more, it's definitely got the American element. It's got a touch of Blood Diamond vibe to it as well, because we wanted to make, we said, the drug cartel has been done so many times before. What can we do to make it a little bit different and spicy? So that's when we wanted to have the diamond angle instead of the drug angle. So that's where that came in.
Yeah, I like the fact that Philip's character said there's like you can't differentiate between blood diamonds. I deal with all of them. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. We're in the criminal business here. It is what it is.
Exactly. Oh yeah, he was great as well. We got very lucky with the cast, and I was just blown away when Cole Meany agreed to do it. I was like, oh, that's great. A little connection there to Layer Cake as well. Never hurts.
In your producer role, putting together the cast, we were talking about it. You've got Colm, you've got Sean Pertwee, you got Stephanie Beacham, you've got Philip Winchester, and even the guy that plays Baraka, Hoji Fortuna. He's great too. What was it like for you putting that together as the producer? Were you like shocked that these people wanted to do it, or were they like really excited to come on?
No, they were really excited to come on. I mean, I think that because the script is so much fun. I mean, Stephanie Beacham's character, Charlie, was meant to be a guy, and then we changed it to a woman. We're like, yeah, I mean, if we're trying to do like a woman boss, a woman Don, her kind of mentor, her boss should be a woman. That's why Uncle Charlie, right? Female, male. So, and she agreed to do it with a beautiful posh British accent and those horrendous words that come out of her mouth. Is a great contrast. And then obviously Philip's role, the role Rob McNaughton, was a very difficult role to cast. We were, that was so important. I think he just plays it beautifully. He's just the way you see the love, how much love he has for Scarlett, and then how violent he is, and how dangerous he is. But then you see that soft side to him. So I think he was great. Sean Pertwee, I've obviously played with him before in The Reckoning, and he was the bad guy. He was the antagonist. It was really fun to see him in this role, and it's very different to what you've seen Pertwee play in the past. So yeah, he had a lot of fun with that. Hoji, he was incredible. So yeah, overall, everyone loved it. I was just so happy and grateful that we got the cast we did.
Especially Hoji's character. I love the name Baraka, so I was just constantly I was like, this is one of the most awesome names I've ever heard. How did you guys come up with that name for his character?
I don't know. Neil came up with that. I have no idea. And then like Danny Oswald, ex-SAS, he wanted to be like proper Cockney English. Baraka, I have no idea how he came up with that. Three Musketeers, right? All for one, one for all.
One for all. you know, you've gotten to work with Neil a lot on The Lair and The Reckoning and now Duchess. What's, you know, do you just love working with him, or like how does that dynamic work between you guys as writer and director and star?
I think we have a great contrast, right? So especially when writing, it's a great contrast, a great balance, right? Because he's coming at the idea that the writer, as a writer, director, editor, how am I going to shoot this? How's it going to work? And then I'm coming at the script as kind of an actress producer. Okay, so would this work for the character? Would they do that? How are we going to afford this? Neil, rein in. We're not going to be able to afford this. So it's a really great collaborative team, really. And Duchess, I mean, Neil said Duchess was the most fun he's had writing a script ever. You can tell it was a blast. So yeah, and he's great to work with as a director as well. He's very calm, collective. He lets you explore and play. Great energy on set, very chilled. So I think we work really well together.
I got to put you on the spot here. What is your favorite Neil Marshall movie that doesn't include Charlotte Kirk in the cast? Because I know mine's Centurion. I'm just curious of what yours would be. I told you I'd put you on the spot. You know,
I would probably, I know I love it. I would probably say Dog Soldiers.
okay. That's one of the first movies I remember ever watching that had his name attached to it back in the day.
It was so, yeah, it's his first movie. I mean, wow.
And Sean was in that one too, so it's
Yeah, but then I do love Centurion as well. Yeah, that's a freaking great movie.
yeah,
Great movie.
Michael Fassbender before he was Michael Fassbender, and
Exactly.
Dominic West and everything like that.
Yeah. Neil's, everyone knows him for horror, but Neil is so good at action. I think that's kind of, you know, his forte as well. And you see him, and you see the action in this. You know, what Neil's great at is putting normal, regular people in extraordinary circumstances. And that's what Duchess is, right? She's a normal girl, kind of, because she's a petty thief, but still. Normal girl, but then she's thrust into this incredible, dangerous world. And then look where she becomes at the end. It's an incredible story. It's an incredible journey. And this is what I think with any great gangster movie, you know, like The Godfather, it's about family. Like, it has substance and layers to it. It's not just your run of your mill vanilla action gangster movie. It's got layers to it, right? It's about betrayal and love and all these different elements to it as well.
And especially the opening scene, because I love when it just starts out like this violent mess, and you're like, oh, well, we got to come back to this in a little bit and show you how we got here. I love when movies do that.
I'm kind of obsessed with voiceovers. I love voiceovers. Goodfellas is one of my favorites as well. I just love it. Just draws me in right away, being an audience member, when you have a good voiceover. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure if we started it that way, but because the great thing about it is with the voiceover is in the edit, you can just put in what's missing as well. And you can put characters' inner thoughts. And I think for a good action, a gangster movie in particular, it's nice to have some freeze frames and some voiceover. It's like a little staple for a good gangster movie.
You know, it's funny, when I was listening to you in the movie, I was like, I wonder if Charlotte really talks like this in real life, because I had just interviewed Ian Glenn, and he's from Scotland, but every time I see him, he always has a different voice. I was like, is she playing this accent up, or is this actually how she talks? And I went back and I watched some interviews. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just her voice, and like she's not playing it up for the camera. But I thought so at first.
No. I mean, where I come from is pretty Cockney. I'm from Southeast London. So
I didn't want to say it. I wanted you to say Cockney. I didn't want to get in trouble.
No, very Cockney. But I think you had to go one way or another for it. And I think if she was just like regular, it wouldn't be as fun. I think for a good British gangster movie as well, it's good to go full on with the old Cockney accent.
As long as they know you said it, not me, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Neil threw in some great one-liners in there, you know.
I love the "Don't see me coming" line, especially in the boxing scene and at the end too.
Never let him see me come. Exactly.
You know, you're the star of this movie. You're the producer. You're the co-writer. How long until we see Charlotte Kirk in the directing chair? Does that happen?
Oh gosh, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that. Look, never say never, but not yet. I think I've still got a few more things to do as an actress and produce. And I mean, I find it very extraordinary actors that go into directing, but then they make some of the best directors as well, because they're actors.
I mean, you're only 32. You've got plenty of time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm 37. Charlotte's much younger than me. I can almost assure you we're going to see you direct something at some point.
Oh my God, potentially. No, it's incredible. I mean, it's such an incredible role as it being a director, just orchestrating the whole thing. Because an actress, you're just in the, I'm not saying just, but you know, you're in your, you try and do the best you can, but you're just one element to this whole bigger thing. And that's kind of what the director's doing. So I think as well as a producer, I think if you can produce, well, you've got to have so many hats on, like being a director. So yeah, maybe one day.
You know, Philip plays Rob in this movie. What was it like working with him? Because he looks like he could be a superhero in real life. Because he was on Chicago Justice here that we used to watch back in the day, and I know he was on Strike Back. I think I used to watch him and all of that. So, what was your experience like working with him?
Oh my God, he's such a generous actor. Like he's so, because we had some pretty intense stuff together, some pretty tragic, you know, scenes in the film. And, you know, you never quite know, not working with an actor, what they're going to be like, how they're going to respond, how you're going to work off each other. But he was so kind and understanding, knew how much this film meant to me as being the writer, producer, and actress. And he just made that whole experience just that much better. Incredible. I mean, he's incredible at action. He's you know, he can do that with his eyes closed. And then just working with him in the emotional stuff was a lot of fun, you know. And he's fun to work with. He always tries to make it just more light on set, especially with the tough scenes. And you know, one of the scenes, one day I got COVID, and it was a real tragic. It was the scene where we were in the desert in the quarry. It was that really emotional scene. I'm like, oh my God! So I have to be crying over his body, and then, but I can't get too close because I can't give him. It was, and you know, and he could turn around and said, look, you got COVID. I'm not coming in. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to risk. Oh, sure, let's just do it. Like he was a real team player. And we needed that for this movie. We needed that.
Yeah. Last question before we wrap here, Charlotte. What do you got coming up in the future? What other projects can you tell us about that are coming out or that you're participating in?
Yeah, so after this, me and Neil did another film together called Compulsion. Again, very, very different. It's an erotic thriller slash slasher movie. And then after this, I did a action film with Dolph Lundgren and Michael J. White that's coming out next year, which is a full-on action flick, which I'm very, very excited about. It was incredible to work with those two legends. And then also another horror film, my first horror film where I wasn't producing or writing, which is great, called The Possession of Gladstone Manor, with Lynn Shay, Barbara Crampton, Jesse Metcalfe. And that it was fun to be on another horror set where I'm solo acting and not producing. It was fun, like typical haunted house, which I'd never done. I'd never done that kind of horror before, so that was a lot of fun. So, Compulsion, Fight or Flight, and The Possession of Gladstone Manor.
I look forward to seeing them, especially possession movies. They're always fun. They're never a bore.
No, exactly. It definitely does what it says on the tin. Yes, so it's quite a few things coming up.
Well, Charlotte, I appreciate you sitting down with me today to talk about Duchess, and I hope everybody, loves it when they get the chance to see it in a couple of weeks. And I hope I get to talk to you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, James.
Thanks
Thank you.
again, Charlotte.
Bye.